Yeah, so welcome once again to our YouTube channel, where we talk about relevant issues relating to the law and how it affects your life, your business, and everything. So today we're going to be talking about the legality of wearing police uniforms for skits or fashion in Nigeria. So now, recently, the Inspector General of Police in Nigeria, Mr. Usman Baba, frowned, of course, against the unauthorized use of police uniforms, regalia, and all of that by skit makers. So you have the likes of Brother Shaggy, Officer Woos, and a host of others. Even Popo, the popular um, comedian, they use police uniforms or depictions of police regalias for their skits and comedy. So the Inspector General of Police, through the first public relations officer, Mr. Olumuyiwa Adejobi, frowned against the use and ordered, the arrest of anybody, skit makers, and anybody at all that uses the police uniform or any regalia depicting the police, the police force, or putting it in disrepute, ordering their arrest. You will recall that some time ago there was this skit maker, Cute Abiola. Well, Cute Abiola is actually in the force, so he was using the military uniform and he was arrested and put in the guard room and all of that. But now let's come back to this IGP's directive that skit makers and people who wear the police uniform for fashion, for costume, and anything should be arrested. Now he cited two provisions as a ground for this directive: Section 251 of the Criminal Code Law and Section 133 of the Penal Code Law, which, of course, according to him, criminalize such unauthorized use with necessary sanctions. All right. So he authorized, therefore, the IGP monitoring unit, provost marshals, and escorts, and all of that to, as a matter of fact, clamp down on these people who use the uniforms, get them arrested, and get them prosecuted. So now we're going to look at what those sections says and really investigate. We're not going to take sides. We're going to look at it from the perspective of what the law is and how that position of the law is or has been interpreted. So let's look at section 251 of the criminal code. Now I mentioned the criminal code and I mentioned the penal code. The criminal code is the criminal law that applies to southern states in Nigeria. The penal code is the criminal law that applies to northern states in Nigeria. So we should really understand that. So these two sections are the sections the IGP cited as a ground for the directives that people who wear police uniforms should be arrested and prosecuted. So, what exactly does Section 251 of the Criminal Code say? It says any person who, not being a person serving in any of the armed or police forces of Nigeria, wears the uniform of any of these forces or any dress having the appearance or bearing any of the regimental or other distinctive marks of any such uniform in such manner or in such circumstances as to be likely to bring contempt on that uniform, or employs any other person so to wear such uniform or dress, is guilty of a simple offense and is liable to punishment for 3 months or to a fine of 40 naira. So clearly, on the face of it, this particular section criminalizes the use of police uniform without permission. Okay, it criminalizes the use of police uniforms, not just police uniform, military uniform. That's why you see military men arresting people who wear their camouflage and all that. So it criminalizes it, and same applies for section 133 of the penal code, which is pretty much the same thing as the section I just read. So the takeout from this particular section is that it doesn't really have to be the uniform, the exact uniform of the police force. if you wear anything that looks like it or depicts the police uniform, all right, then you can be arrested for a simple offense. It's a simple offense, but that doesn't mean you can't be arrested. So when you have skit makers who wear these things, the implication is that they are breaching the provision of this law, right? They are breaching the provision of this law because they are using it without any authorization from the force and without being a serving member of the force. So that's basically what the law says. All right. So when you wear those things, you have to be careful. If you have friends who wear those things, they have to be careful because if you look at the last part of the section, it says they wear it in such manner or in such circumstances as to likely bring contempt on that uniform. So when people wear skits, wear these uniforms to make skits, they are wearing it. It is perceived that they are wearing it to likely bring contempt or to depict the Nigeria police force as, one bad entity or something like that. So that brings them within the confines of this section. All right. And again, to say one likely wears it to likely bring contempt, it's a very subjective term. All right. And so it can be argued by the police force that you're wearing it is likely to bring contempt to the force, whether or not you're just wearing it to the shopping mall, whether or not you're just wearing it to take a stroll around. So they can say, if you wear it to take a stroll around, it brings contempt to the force because it makes members of the force or makes the public to perceive members of the force as being lazy people who just drive around town doing nothing. All right. So the best thing to do really is to say, you know what? Instead of wearing police uniforms camouflage, let me just do away with it. If I want to act skits, there are other things I can wear. I can wear um, um, a plain cloth and act as a police officer. All right. You can wear a plain cloth and act just to avoid these liabilities. And again, if you even want to argue about the right to freedom of expression, you must have been arrested first, and you don't want to have a situation where you're arrested and your freedom is now dependent on whether or not you win a case. So that's basically what the law says about this, and I hope this has been helpful to you. Please like the video, subscribe to this channel, and share and comment on it. Thank you.